Welcome back and thanks for staying tuned into Power Breakfast on CNBC TV 18. Now we have a team of research joining in with us to set you up for trade, tell you which are the important stocks to watch out for, as well as the cues in the world of F&O. Hormaz, let's start up first with you. Good morning, and what are we watching out for in terms of Indian markets? Asian markets have turned and flipped to the red side today. Indian markets, a different story seems like it.
Good morning, Vinny. It's a lot has happened over the last 2 days, so we need to be reacting to 2 days of global cues that have emerged. But for now, the GIFT Nifty is suggesting that the implied open indicates a 500-point gap up for now, that the benefits of that 90-day tariff pause would likely to be trickling in. But of course, you need to keep in mind that at one point yesterday, the GIFT Nifty was indicating an implied open of more than 1,000 points, so we need to factor that in as well. And of course, since then, since that 90-day pause announcement yesterday, Wall Street gave up more than a third of what it gained on Wednesday. There is still lack of clarity on multiple aspects with regards to these tariffs on various sectors, and Donald Trump has also gone on record to say that these higher tariffs will return if deals are not reached with most of these countries as well. Now, India was a relative outperformer on Wednesday by not falling as much, and it was because of the FMCG names. All of these consumption related names did well on Wednesday, and that kept the losses in check for the Nifty. Of course, you need to keep an eye out for the Nifty IT today, particularly because of the rally seen on the Nasdaq on Wednesday and the sell-off seen last night as well. We'll also be reacting to results from TCS, so that will be having a bearing on the Nifty IT as well. Of course, the RBI draft of norms on the gold financing rules will keep all these gold financiers like Manappuram, Muthoot and IIFL in focus as well. Of course, keep an eye out on auto, pharma and metals, because there is still no clarity with regards to what happens to the tariffs that are already imposed and are likely to be imposed on sectors like pharma, so keep an eye out on that. Of course, now that we are seeing a gap up, the 23,000 level on the upside comes into play, and on the downside, of course, yesterday's low, of course, that is Wednesday's low of 22,350 and Tuesday's low of 22,270 comes into play as well on the downside. But for now, a gap up is what's in the offing, so expect higher levels at the start of trade.
Okay, Hormaz, thank you so much for that. But let's take a look at which are the important stocks to watch out for in today's trading session. First up, we'll start with TCS. Q4 numbers reported modest miss in terms of revenue growth. We're seeing that the constant currency revenue growth was down by 0.8% on a quarter-on-quarter basis. Dollar revenue down by 0.1%. Margins also some bit of a disappointment. So yes, we could see some bit of a red there. Moving on, we also have Muthoot Finance and Manappuram. That will be in focus. Now, there was that update that came in terms from RBI in terms of gold loan collateral, where maximum LTV ratio for consumption of gold loans can't exceed 75% of gold value. LTV ceiling 75% shall apply to all gold loan sanctions by NBFCs. So yes, near term may be a bit of a negative, but then otherwise we're keeping an eye out on both these stocks. Two pharma stocks in focus. Biocon, now they've gotten a US FDA approval for the biosimilar, which is bevacizumab, which is a cancer drug treatment. They're expanding their portfolio furthermore on the US market, and overall this biosimilar has a market size of around $2 billion that we had seen, and this was in 2023. Sun Pharma also in focus, a positive news flow coming in here. The US court has ruled in favor of Sun Pharma. This is an ongoing case that is going on for one of the drugs, which is for the treatment of alopecia, and because of this is an important drug for the company. So yes, now they can launch this drug. The due date of the launch, or when will they be launching this product, is something to watch out for, but surely a positive as of now, because this preliminary injunction that was there for Sun Pharma, that has been lifted. Coromandel International, keep an eye out on this one. They have signed an MOU with Saudi mining company to partner for a phosphatic fertilizer. So on the back of that, we're keeping an eye out on that. NBC has concluded some e-auction for residential units, and this is in Greater Noida. Good sales value for this one as well of around 1,500 crores. Bharti Hexacom put the sale of infrastructure business to Indus Tower on hold, so something to watch out for on that front as well. Anand Rathi has come out with some updates coming in here. Asset under management as at 77,103 crores. Guidance was of 80,000 crores, some bit on below the expectation over there. So keep an eye out on these stocks in today's trading session.
Well, thank you so much for that, Vinny. Quite a comprehensive list. But let's move on and let's go across to Mangalam. He's here to tell us how the F&O setup looks like. Good morning, Mangalam.
Good morning. Let's start with, thank God it's Friday. And why do I say that despite it being a holiday yesterday itself? Because if you look at the Dow, over the last 4 trading sessions, you have April 7th, where the Dow was down 1%. April 8th, the Dow was down 0.8%. And thereafter, April 9th, it was up 8%. And yesterday was down 2.5%. By the end of this week, you would be worried worried, what exactly is happening. And yesterday itself, Dow from the highs actually fell 403 points, and from the lows itself rallied about 1166 points. So it's fair amount of volatility, so you could do with a break. The GIFT Nifty is indicating a positive start, so that's a good thing. The one sector that we'll be watching out for today, I'll be watching out for in particular, is Nifty IT because of counterbalancing factors. On the one hand, you have TCS results which may weigh it down, but on the other, you have the IT index which is lower, and there might be a relief rally that may come in on account of what's taken place globally overnight. The FIs, they're selling in cash market. More importantly, they continue to sell in index futures as well. So on Wednesday, they sold close to around 1,200 crores, with a lot of long positions being unwound. What this does is the FII long exposure, if you remember at the start of the series, was 40%. Sometime last week, it went to about 30%, and now it's down to 22%. So the FII long exposure has been structurally coming down this series so far. But if the market moves higher, there could be a case for these shorts to cover their position. So the FI long exposure now comes up for you on the screen at 22%. Shorts are 78%. If we move higher, then are these shorts going to cover their positions or not? The question is, with the GIFT Nifty indicating a 450-point uptick, what should you do? Should you chase that gap up? Perhaps not. Why do I say that? Because the 23,000 call writers are still fairly active. So if the market crosses that 100 mark, only then will you see the elements of short covering. And Street is positioned for that with the purchase of 23,500 and 24,000 calls. At the same time, where the market opens has resistance in the form of the 50 and the 20-day moving average. So keep an eye out on that. We'll just watch out for a couple of levels. On TCS, the 3,700 call and 3,000 put have maximum open interest. So that's the range for today. And we have Nalco, which has entered F&O ban. So watch out for that stock.
Okay, Mangalam, thank you so much for that. But